And we are all set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Satisfactory. So, last time we had been looking at the thermal propulsion rockets and decided we needed a lot more aluminum. So we have this factory set up, but there is one major problem, and that major problem is that these are not anywhere near sufficient. So it looks like the major limiting factor is mostly bauxite input, and we can see that these cars here are by no means full. They're like, what, halfway-ish? Which is no good. We need to be delivering full cars, because delivering incomplete cars also causes these belts to be effectively slower, because they have to stop more frequently. So, what I think we need to do is we need to get out to wherever the bauxite hub is, which, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know where that is. I think it's in the main batch with all the rest of them, but I'm not sure. So we're gonna have to try to tell these trains, let's hop in. So we're gonna want to tell these trains to only deliver full cars, which is going to cause problems. We're gonna have to redesign this a little bit. So first of all, let's get out of the train now. And it looks like we have... I mean, we don't have enough bauxite in here, but we have some. So, let's see, we need to tell these trains to only load up when they're full, but in addition, okay, we do have this loop in. So I tried to do this previously, and I guess it just didn't work that time. But let's see if maybe we can get it working this time. So what we need to do is we need to get in U, edit time table, bauxite distributor, until fully unloaded, and wait for a couple extra seconds. So we're going to set that, and then we're going to do the same thing for this other train. And when they loop back in a second, we will see if that works. I think there were some problems with it last time I checked. Alright, so you also change that to be fully loaded or unloaded. And save. Alright, now it should just complete its current docking and go with the previous settings. And then update to the newer ones. Yeah, so there it's off. And it got hardly any, which is not ideal. So the other thing we're going to need to deal with is we are going to need to deal with these guys. We're going to need to add more bauxite input as well, because clearly what we have currently isn't enough. So let's wait for the other train to come back, because I'm pretty sure that there are some sort of bugs with it where this is not going to work properly, but there also might not be. Alright, aluminum bauxite 2 is coming down, and it should, theoretically, sit in here until this is enough to fill it up and then go, but I don't know if it'll actually do that. Alright, in you go. And you stop. And these continue on loading. And then that one's empty. These ones are going to keep loading until they run empty, and then the bauxite is going to make it back and hopefully solve that problem. There we go. So this is also not a full train of bauxite. Except for this last car, weirdly. Actually, wait, is that 3,200, 1,600? No. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Alright, so now that's going. And we move that over. But I think we're about to encounter a bug. Maybe. We'll see. So then now that... Alright, it does keep going in properly. Except for that one, which is filled up. Now it's just these center couple which need to finish. Well, I guess all but that last one, maybe. And we are getting even more bauxite in, but still not a full train's worth. Alright, so another one of those is doing the loading animation. I don't know what the loading animation is even for. Alright, then the next train has showed up. And it's just going to be waiting here. And then this is delivering all the bauxite. And now it goes across. And I have no idea how close this is to filling up. It looks like it still needs quite a bit of work. Yeah, I don't know if this is working properly. It seems like this should have filled by this point, surely. These are all Mark V belts, right? Yeah, they should be all Mark V. Alright. So I guess this loading and unloading process just takes a really long time. Even on Mark V belts. They look like they're running at full speed, though. Alright, and now it leaves, and it has, okay, technically not 100% full, but it's got some, so it doesn't fill up like to 3,200. It'll just see that there's a stack in that slot, and it'll go. So then the next train comes in, and hopefully this should also work. Okay, this one has run out of bauxite. And yeah, I don't know what exactly is going on here with like why some of these stop sometimes. But it is kind of annoying because I think it's slowing it down by like a fair amount. But if this is working, then that will be that partial problem solved, and then it's just going to be with these being as efficient as they need to be, we are then just going to need to upgrade our bauxite supply so that we get enough of them, because currently the problem is like most of these belts aren't even running a lot of the time, which is definitely no good. So, let's follow this river bauxite train. And I guess the next thing we're going to need to do is also set this one up to only bring full cars. And that will also have to be on the loading side. And then I don't even know if there's going to be any room for improvement. So the river bauxite is right here. It's got a pure node and some other stuff. We're going to go over there and check to see if there's anything we can do. I suspect that there won't be. But in the meantime, we can go river bauxite source until it's fully loaded / unloaded. And wait for 0 seconds. Save, save. Alright, so that is good. Now we just have to get over here and see if we can overclock a miner or fix some belt speeds or anything that we can do to make this go faster. Alright, now we're here. And I assume that these are... yeah. They're all doing their thing. Alright, so these belts, I mean, they all look like they're being fully utilized. At least as belts go. I don't see any bauxite getting stuck and waiting at all. It's all pretty much just going. So that's good. So then we drop down to here. Oh, this is the area with uranium nearby, isn't it? Alright, so you are going at as fast as you can. Which is... just make sure that these are Mark 5s. Yes, they are. So there's nothing we can do about that. Then there's this one down here, which is going as fast as it can at 600. These two over here are outputting onto a single belt. Alright, that's max speed for you. And I assume for you as well. These are going to be impure nodes. Yes. Alright. So is that all 4 nodes here accounted for? Yes, it was. So there's no other nodes of bauxite in this immediate vicinity, I don't think, unless we might be like right on the edge of radar. So let's just get an extra radar down right here to see. And yes, there is definitely just nothing in this area that we haven't already grabbed. So as far as the bauxite that is left, there's normal there, impure there, a couple normals and impures out there. There's a couple pures. That's a pure. That's a normal. That one is underneath some other stuff. So we could go out there to get a pure node of bauxite and a normal node. And then there's these 3 over here, which are pure, normal, pure. And if I remember correctly, bauxite is pretty much down that middle line of the map, so there's not going to be any up there or down there. Alright, let's head out to the west and grab up these 3 bauxite nodes. And then hopefully that will be enough. Now I had a hypertube cannon over this way, which I can use to just shortcut back up to the top. So up we go, and straight up. Alright, now we're here, and we've got this. And we have... this train is now just waiting for a fill-up, which is good for it. So then we had this other bauxite spot over here, which I think is just like 1 pure node or something. And I can't imagine there's any problems there, but I guess we'll stop by to look at it and set it to be more efficient. Alright. Am I crazy or am I not seeing that many trains? Like, I guess the moving the iron out of the way really just dramatically solved the traffic problems. Although I didn't think it would be this much of an improvement. Like, this row was absolutely jam-packed 24/7, and now it's basically empty. That makes me suspicious. There's not, like, a massive traffic jam somewhere else, is there? No, it looks like all the trains are pretty much just happy doing their thing. Well, I'm not going to complain about that. Alright, so we head all the way over to the west to grab this extra bauxite and hope that it's enough. I don't know if this will add up to enough bauxite to run the new factory around the clock, but if we can at least improve it and make it like better, then that would be cool. As long as it doesn't jam, and that's the other thing we're going to have to check on. We're going to have to check if the bauxite factory is going to get stuck or anything. Alright, so we're now in the approximate area. Just a little bit further. They're basically, is that right? They're basically, that radar tower is pretty central. Yeah, so let's head over to there. And this is actually the edge of the train line, so we're going to have to make our intersection off here. Alright, let's get down this way and build up our intersection. Feels like it's been a while since I've done this. Definitely shouldn't have been a while. I feel like I must have done this semi-recently. No, because the Assembly Director System factory I didn't make a new train stop for because it was just more ACUs that I needed to build. So I just attached it to the ACU factory. So I guess it actually has been a bit since I've set up a new train stop. We just go like that. We get block signal pointing that way. Path signal pointing that way. And we've broken it. Alright, so you get to go a little further back. Oh, right, no, it's because you are not expecting to be path signals. So let's get you set up. Okay, now what? Now what's the problem? It's still saying signal loops into itself, and that problem shouldn't be coming from there or there or there. So it must be this block signal, which needs to be moved back a little bit. There we go. Intersection solved, and that's going to give an error because it's at a dead end, but it won't be at a dead end once I build the train station. So let's go just like one more tick further and then build the train station here. So we need our foundations to go somewhere here-ish. And then we get a train station here pointing this way. And we're going to have it be back enough that this can comfortably get around the edge. And that connects up here. So this is going to be Western bauxite. And it's connected properly. Yep, everything is good. Actually, our power production is this is remarkably flat. I'm not normally this good at getting everything running smoothly. There's still some slight fluctuations, both on production side and on consumption side, but that's kind of incredible. I'm real happy with that. Alright, so then we need our freight platforms, which just go like that. And then let's get more horizontal space. I'm not going to need a full zoop of concrete, but it's just easier than trying to figure out the exact value which would be useful. And it's not like we have a concrete shortage. So there we go. And that is 1, 2, 3, 5 freight platforms. So now this comes around like so. And then we just need to get it to loop in, which is always a bit of a trick. Let's see here. I think we might be... Okay, no, we are able to manage it like that. Not the cleanest curve in the world, but it's good enough. Alright, so then this is all set to load, which is correct. And then we just need to set this up. Now we're going to have pure, and normal coming in. So I think we go pure there and going in, normal there and going, pure there, pure on the outside and going in, normal on the inside going out. And that should keep it at least vaguely symmetrical-ish. Although I could just... No, well, no. Splitting them evenly might be a bit tricky. Yeah, okay. This should be fine. Let's go with this. It's going to be a lot easier to do. And probably won't cause any issues because it's going to be set to go until it loads. Alright, actually let's think. So pure is going to be 780, normal is going to be 600. So that would be 390, 390. Okay, this is actually going to be a bit... Yeah, that's not ideal actually. What if I go... Pure... No. Let's just do 1 to 5 splitters. This is what I did for the other bauxite. I don't know. Let's go with the lazy version for now, and if we cause problems with it, then we'll know to fix it. So you get a merger there. Actually, I think I want the normal to be on a second row. Yeah, that's what we can do. So the two fast ones are going to be on the bottom row, merging into the center. Like that. And then the slow one is going to have the top row all to itself. So now it'll be at least like kind of symmetrical adjacent. It won't actually be symmetrical, but it'll be close-ish. So then we just stack a couple of splitters up there. And a couple splitters there and there. And there and there. So now we connect all of these up. So that and that. And then these all go in like that. Alright. So we have 390, half of 390, half of that, and then trickling down to irrelevance. And then the same thing on the other side. And then the center will be getting additional 300. So it should be close enough to evenly split. Alright, so then that goes up to there. And then these get lifts in there. And this one gets a lift in here. Alright, now we just need to drop down here and actually collect up the resources. So let's go somewhere down here. We have this blueprint, which can help us easily bring power down. Alright, so we have to send that to blueprint mode. And just down it goes. Actually pretty high up over here, so we don't have to go down that far to hit the peaks of these things. Alright, so now let's get a power line out onto a Mark III power pole. And then get that onto this line of wall mounts. So now we can go down this way, bring power as we go. And then keep on going. Alright, down another one. And we keep on going down. Alright, I think one more blueprint of this will fit in. There we go. And bring our power. Oh, no, it doesn't quite. It just goes into the ground there, but that's fine. So now we are at, well, not quite ground level, but we're here at least. So now we need to bring this power. Okay, we actually have power lines all over this area. So we can just go over to these. And our bauxite node should be just down in there somewhere. Alright. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. Pretty easy to find. So, production. Miner Mark III. Up we go. So then you get powered and overclocked. So you're the 600. So then you are going to make your way over this way. And let's go up a little bit more right now. And now we are over here on this ground area. Alright, invalid placement for whatever reason. so this comes over here, and pretty soon should be just about the right area. Let's bring that power pole over here, because this is a bit of a dead spot. Alright, so that's that. That's one down, two to go. Next, we're going to head south. Which, let's see, are we going to be heading up onto that? Yes, we're going to be heading past this little dip. So let's actually just build a platform over there and bring the power on this platform with us. So that way we can keep going like this. And we should be able to get over there, unless it's underground, which it could be underground. Alright, but we just keep on moving. Okay, now here it is. It was that. I don't know why that looked like quartz in the lighting, for whatever reason. Alright, now we're here. And we can bring the power pole down there. Stick a minor Mark III in. And power it up. Then you get 2 of these is enough to fill up the Mark V belt. And then that is going to go up here and onto this nice neat foundation. Now we drag this back. And then we can worry about where exactly it goes once we have the third one. So I'm just going to get these in the right general location so that then we can sort out where they all need to get placed to actually get up into the floor holes we made. Alright, so this is close enough. And one more is out to the west. So let's again just build a foundation over that way and bring power with us on the foundation. I think we're going to have to go a fair bit down for this next one. We were at a bit of a local high point here. Yeah, there it is. There it is down there. So we're just gonna keep bringing this foundation along, and then once we're in the right general direction, we can drop down and get that sorted out. Alright, so I guess just like one more of these, and yeah, power does reach down to there. So we can go down there, place in a minor Mark III, and overclock. There we go. I forgot to actually connect the power to the minor Mark III. That's quite important. Okay. A creature is in the way. Please move. There we go. The creature has moved out of the way, and now we can place our lift. And get up to here. Alright, now we just have to run this belt along the nice flat path we made on our way over. And then I guess we just start dragging these. No, I guess we drag the belt down from the top and then figure out how these go into them from up once they're down here again. Although that's actually is going to require a lot of going up and down. So no, let's see first of all if we can eyeball it. So it's going to be something like, yeah, I can see them actually. It's there, there, and there. Okay. I think actually it might be easier to just bring these up approximately next to this wall and then sort of branch them out once we are up there, because this will let us hover around while we're making the trip, which would be quite convenient to have as an ability. Alright, so now we've got these. And I guess we just start bringing them up. Up we go. And we don't want these to... We don't want them to run into each other. I'm going to leave a decent gap. And if I remember correctly, this left one is actually the normal node, and these two are the pure nodes. So that's something that we're going to have to keep track of when we're putting these into their designated spots. Alright, so now we're up here. So that one goes there. And just connects along to that. Nice and easy. It was quite close. So this one then is going to have to go up to here and do a little bit, not much, of sneaking around like that, and then in like that. Then we can build all this in, and there. Then this one is going to have to go the farthest way. So it comes over here. And let's get this on the right up here. There we go. And then those two just connect across. And we've got our bauxite. Alright, so these are looking correct. So it's half of a belt going that way, half of a belt going that way. And then this is obviously going to be like a third of a belt going in each direction. And should be all set and ready to go. So now we just put in a train somewhere like there. Give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freight cars. And you are going to be Western Bauxite. That's your name so we can keep track. And then we have to go to Bauxite Hub and Western Bauxite. And while you're here, you go until you're fully loaded or unloaded. Save. Save, turn on self-driving. And apparently you're going to skip this station and go to the Bauxite Hub first, which is fine. Then what I need to do is make sure this has got some blocks in it. It shouldn't be strictly necessary to have these blocks in here, because since there's only one train that's going to be in this location, it should be fine. But just in case, you know, it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to have, and it could save a lot of trouble. So that is all set up. Now, I guess I will respawn and then run the rest of the way, all the way east to get the bauxite. Let's see, is this fine? Yeah, this should be fine. There's a bit of a backlog at the coal, but they should be able to move out soon, hopefully. They're not giving warning signs, so I assume it isn't like a catastrophic thing. That water really needs help. Okay, there's the Western Bauxite train, by the way, which I really should have just hopped on that train and rid it all the way over here. Alright, there's the oil doing weird stuff as usual. Then we can get past all of this. And we might need to expand out... We might need to expand out the bauxite... Wait. No, it should be fine. Because we added another... We added another input train, which doesn't stay here. If we'd added another output train, we might have had an issue. Alright, so you are waiting here. This train, unfortunately, is going to be of precisely 0 use. Then these trains are not completely filled, except apparently this back row and that row. So we're just going to have to wait for an actual train with bauxite that isn't just this guy to show up. So the river bauxite train is just sitting over there loading still, it looks like. And the further one, the central bauxite, was set up to just run continually, I believe. So it should be fine. It should show up here with, you know, some somewhat pathetic amount of bauxite and get this whole thing running. Hopefully it does, because currently we have basically nothing here. So this one has a good 1,000-ish spare bauxite. This one is basically completely filled. I don't know why that is. And the rest of these are empty. Alright, that's ACU limestone, so that's not an interesting train for us. That's Caterium. That's something. That's... None of this is of interest. Where is our central bauxite train? Is it this one? It might be that one, since it's just labeled train. It could be anything. Although it looks like it's some sort of fluid train, like oil or something. Okay, so copper looks like it's having mild issues. Although, actually, I mean, this is fine, I guess. I'd much prefer it be better than that. And there's another train going in to grab some copper right now, which is not ideal. Alright, so that is waiting for nothing. Let's head over here and see what's going on there. Because it seems like something has gone wrong. So over we go. That is a quartz train, which I don't care about. Oh, am I gonna make this? I am. Hover packing like that is so scary. I should just, like, memorize that that is possible to do without issues. Alright, river bauxite source. You are sitting here. All of these are just actively stuck. So this is not loading anything. Surely this last one should be, but it isn't. I really... Why are trains like this? Just receive the bauxite. Yeah, I mean, these are all just simply filling up. And this is getting loaded with nothing. So all the rest of these are registering as available, except for this last one, which is still registering as loading, but isn't actually loading anything. And rebuilding it like that doesn't do anything. This is just... Why can't trains simply work? Alright, what if instead of that, let's actually instead just set or wait 120 seconds. Alright, so that should mean that if it gets stuck like that, it will eventually unstick itself. So yeah, this was all filled. It just wasn't doing anything with it. So I think we're going to have to put that for the others as well, that they should only wait for 2 minutes. If it's been more than 2 minutes and they aren't full yet, that's unfortunate. But we don't want them getting stuck like that ever. So let's run on over here. Now the good news is that should theoretically get the rest of these working, unless they're also stuck. Because this was basically 100% full, right? It was like 99%. Okay, it looks like that train, which was previously in here, has left. And so now this one is going. And I think we want... I think we're done with this with iron, where we just want a row of boxes down the middle here to help ensure that things stay stable. Alright, so this is going. Let's hop in and set you to or wait 120 seconds and save that. So now you won't ever get stuck. And we should be good to go. Yeah, this last one has less incoming because for whatever reason this last box is basically always filled. Now currently all the rest of these boxes are also filled, and it's just the front one which is struggling. But it's gonna be enough, assuming that the train doesn't get stuck, which it very well could. Alright, so this is another almost full train. Is this the Western Bauxite? Yes, it is. Alright, let's get that in so you don't have problems. There we go. Currently not being loaded at all. And now it is once again being loaded. Now most of these are just being loaded into nothing important. So let's use this time to set up the industrial storage crates for all the ones that we can. So that goes across. That goes across. And then we can do the same for these ones. Now this is going to mean that this fancy splitting setup that I did here is not going to be a thing anymore, but that's fine. We can also just fix it if we need to. Alright, so that train is left. So we're almost done with all this. Take all that junk out. Put in an industrial storage crate. So this basically just prevents problems from there being two trains which can both independently shut the belts down. Because now, if this one is shutting the belts down, we can still empty the storage container, and while this one is shutting the belts down, we can still fill the storage container. So it's basically like only one belt is shut down at a time. Alright, so let's just take all of this stuff out. And there we go. And this goes across. Like so. And then we take all this out. And that. Industrial storage container. And across we go. Alright, so now that should be all functional. Is this one set to only wait for 120 seconds? Edit timetable, bauxite distributor, or wait 120 seconds. There we go. So now you're not going to be stuck. And we should be doing better now. I mean, these boxes seem to be mostly filled most of the time. And we are filling up these trains pretty quickly. It seems to be just this front one, which is super far behind for whatever reason. And I guess this one is having the biggest drain for some reason. Let's see here. So these are all like 600 or 700. This front one is going to be a huge amount because it's literally just the maximum possible, basically. But as long as there's the bauxite to manage it, it should be fine. So yeah, now we see that working out. So this box is still filling while that goes, which means that when this gets interrupted, this will run for approximately the time of one load-unload cycle. There we go. And we're going to see that now, probably. Yeah, this is using 810 items per minute from the front box. I don't know why that is. But if we are pumping approximately 2 full belts of bauxite in, then we should eventually be able to keep up with that. So that is going now. And the box is almost fully drained, which means that this should be almost fully loaded. Yes, there we go. Pretty much right on time. Because the load-unload cycles always take the same amount of time, that's to be expected. And now we are basically just chilling here until that fills all the way up. So yeah, past this point, the only way to make the bauxite go faster would be to literally just add a second train system, like an additional stop here and at the destination, or to like add a 6th cargo platform or something, which we could do, but it would be annoying to do, and I don't think it's necessary for the scale we're going at right now. Alright, now all of these have some backlog built up, which will be marginally wasteful, I think, because sorry about that, because it'll mean that at the bauxite inputs where we have the, what's it called, where we have the manifold, basically, where it's uneven, it means that more is going to be sent into these ones than they need, which means that this one will be a little bit starved. But I think it'll ultimately be fine. Alright, so now that's another full train, and now let's follow this back, because there's been a good couple of trains running over here now, so we should head over there and see what's happening. So it's entirely possible that they will have gotten stuck somehow from things filling up in the aluminum loop. It's also entirely possible that it's still just facing the same problems as it always has been. Alright, but if we hop off here, we see basically no reserves in any of these boxes except for this last one, which means that when this loading cycle happens, we're going to have a problem. Yep, so that loading cycle happens, and the bauxite just disappears from this one and then from all the rest. Except for this last one, which weirdly has like 20 times as much as the others. Don't know what's going on there. Yep, you do all that. Now, I don't understand where all this bauxite is even going. Because, in theory, I mean, this is 1,071 items a minute. So this should be somewhere in the vicinity of 1,000 items a minute each. I mean, these are all like 1,080, 1,080, 1,080, 1,080. And this one's 1,070 for whatever reason. But if that's the case, then how much bauxite are we even using? Because this is 5,200 or so, something like that. Now, I happen to know that these are all 780 times 5 is 3,900. Now, I have 2 more of that up there, which is 5,460. So I guess, yeah, I guess these ones up here are making the difference. And I could turn them off. I could just turn these off and kill the bauxite usage, because this is 1560 here, and there was like another 1,000 there. And combined with those, that's probably why it's just too much. Because these 5 alone would be fine, I think. It's those 5 combined with those 2.5, more like 3-ish, which is just going to be too much for this system. So I mean, the good news is we found an amount of bauxite that this system can't manage, apparently. So that's how you know you're going mega scale. And once we get faster belts, so we are eventually going to hit phase 5 and tier 6 belts, and then once that happens, we should be able to keep up with all of this pretty easily. Alright, these numbers are actually going up. So now they're at like 1150 some, except for this front one, which is 1090. Still don't know why it's doing that, but eventually these should like cap out, right? Because if the problem is that we can't output it fast enough on these belts, then these boxes will all fill up and these will stay empty. But I don't actually know if that is a real issue. It looks like this one might be facing that issue. So this one is getting drained more heavily than the others for some reason. It must be. Because, I mean, the input is just the same 2 solid belts as all the others. So this is... yeah, I mean, it looks like it is. So that... these 4 are all on this row, and they are 130, 86, 294, 77. 294, 7. Alright, why is this one insanely high? Because all the others, if I'm looking at this right, between that one and this one are all the same. Oh no, this is just because of the way I've done that. Yeah. Alright, that's not actually a thing that I can do anything about, I think. Alright, do I just cut off the supply to the old aluminum factory? Or do I see if this can keep growing until it handles it? Alright, actually, what has happened? Now none of these have any... none of these have any bauxite at all. And I see an error signal over here at the ACU. That's fine. It's supposed to be like that. So there is actually just straight up not enough bauxite getting here. And it's not that these boxes just take time to fill up, apparently. Which is surprising. Because I thought... so that means that the output belts theoretically might not be the issue. And it is just the length of time that it takes the trains to get here. Alright, so now we have this. And, I mean, it seems to be going quite well. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. I don't really want to just, like, deactivate almost half of my aluminum production, but I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's just chop these belts which go up, because the new aluminum production goes off that way. Although, wait, doing that is also going to chop the all-clad sheets production, right? We're doing all-clad sheets and casings here as well, somehow, right? And these are being tapped directly off of the old aluminum production, right? They're taking from this belt, which is going from up here. Oh, and actually our rocket fuel casings is also being dragged from this. Alright, I do not know that I want to actually make that cut then. At least not directly like that. So instead, I want to have you connect back up. But then we need to figure out, because I think there's like one belt which is powering all of those things. And if we can just save that one and cut the others, then that would be the best situation. Alright, so this belt is powering that and is then going up here to power the all-clad casings, and I assume over here we also have the aluminum casings. So yes, so this belt specifically is necessary to keep running for all of those reasons. So we're going to follow this belt back. Up we go. So that leads us to this line, which is being fed from this batch. Alright, so how do we turn this off? We can just, I guess we can just like cut supply of petroleum coke to all the rest of these. That's a relatively convenient way of doing that. Yeah, so let's cut you. Actually, can I just have it by turning machines off? I think I should just turn machines off. Because that way it's more obvious that like I have this capacity if I need it. So let's go down this row and just turn all of these machines off manually. And then, because I'm cleverly doing this at the top of the factory, this is absolutely going to, well, first of all, it's going to cause a jam if I ever want to use this again, which I would need to manually fix, but I would need to manually improve all sorts of things to get this functioning anyways, so that's fine. Alright, so those are now all off, which means production paused. These supplies of aluminum are going to shut down soon. Yep, there we go. Just the last couple trickling out of these ones. And then it'll only be a matter of time before most of the bauxite demand also disappears. And then we'll just be powering this one, which is doing fine, maybe? Doing fine enough, though. It's doing fine enough to power all this stuff, which is all that I really care about. So now we should see a whole bunch of yellow lights there, which means these are no longer taking in bauxite, which means that this, yeah, the top rows are now hardly doing anything. Which means that these boxes are filling up, and hopefully we'll be able to recover from this whole situation and just have a nice, stable 5 belts running instead of, what was it, like 8 or whatever. And 5 belts should still be more than enough, especially if it's as efficient as it could possibly be. And these are showing 85%, 90%, 80%, 90%. Weird stuff with machines. So we've got one over there which is like actively not working at the moment. And it's short on water. Alright, so this is one of the recycled ones, right? Since we're all the way over here, it's gotta be. So if we're not getting enough water recycled, that is because some of these aren't running. Why are you not running? You actually have too much water, so okay, we have that type of problem. Now this is, it's because this is basically a fluid manifold, I think. So what I need to do is bring that across, bring that across, and this should hopefully help a little bit. So if we would just do that. That one's short on alumina solution. That one's short on alumina solution. Probably because of the recycling not working properly. But now this one is functioning. As should be this one. Yeah, so this one is now... It was at 51%. It should be reaching, hopefully, closer to 100% at least. Okay, so then what we need to do is we probably need a water unsticker. So we need an output which will run last after everything else, and then consume the water to make, I don't know, copper is what we used last time. And that way, this whole system will never truly get permanently jammed. Because there'll always be somewhere for excess water to go. And that somewhere is right the way up here. So, yeah, we can literally just connect this pipe up. So let's bring it over. Don't do that. Oh, why am I not in Zoop mode? I must have respawned at some point. It's kind of annoying that respawning resets settings like that. Alright, so then we can connect that. And actually, I don't know if that water has the head lift to get all the way up there. Yeah, it probably doesn't. Let's see, if I just, like, consider putting a pump on here. Okay. Wait, does it have the head lift? Because it is connected up to this, right? So it is connected all the way up to this, so it might technically think that it works. It's hard to say, of course, because, I mean, this whole system is not overfilled, so it shouldn't be getting the extra water up here anyways. So this is just turning water into alumina solution, and it's short on water. This one is turning alumina solution into water, and it's going fine. I think this should be... I mean, it looks pretty decent, aside from all the occasional blinking yellow lights. I don't know if we have enough output. So as it currently stands, we've got like... the first 3-ish are pretty stable, and the last 2 are not looking great. Which is weird that it works that way, because I thought they would all be approximately equal. And then this is the copper, right? Yes, that's the copper, not worried about that. This, though, is the aluminum, and it is basically filled. Yeah, it's basically filled. Alright, so that all looks fine. That all looks fine. Now, where was that aluminum belt, which I decided was important to keep running? Does this ever go down to the trains? No, it doesn't. Alright, that's fine then. That is fine. So it can just do its thing. And then if we drop over here to the bauxite, we have full box, almost full box, mostly full box, almost full, and like half full. Yeah, so this one in the front is just consistently not getting as much bauxite. I don't understand why that is, but it looks like it still ultimately works out to being enough. And once these all hit their caps, like this one is about to, then it should just balance out properly. And then it's just a matter of if the output belts are also balancing out and figuring themselves. Yeah, so this looks better. It's not perfect, though. I guess I don't necessarily need this to be perfect. It is quite good, though. So, the problem with these massive complicated systems is that it's very, very difficult to isolate the problem. Because, I mean, the water is all sort of intermingled, and it necessarily has to be just because of how the ratios work. They don't go cleanly, like, from one group of machines into another. I guess maybe I could try to work on that. Try to make this water system a little bit more isolated. But it's not going to be easy to do that, so I think as long as it's 90% good, which it seems to be, well, that one's 80%, but that one's 98%, then I'm going to just be fine with it. So yeah, why is this one specifically not getting any water when this one is, and this one is? Okay, it does look like this is filling up, though. So this should be approaching 100%. Probably. I mean, it looks very good. Actually, no, it's slowing now. It looks like we might be running into a shortage in a cycle or two. Yeah, so then it goes idle for a little bit. The amount of water in the machine goes up again. And we continue to have those problems. All right, let's... No, but I can't have these pipes saturate because then that potentially breaks the entire system. So we can't do that. We just need this to magically work. So I'm just going to ask nicely one more time, please magically work, and then it'll do that. Of course it hasn't, but there's not much that can be done. It's just a bit too complicated of a system to expect it to work perfectly nicely. But it is very close, and it looks like it's gotten better over time. Even like now, at this moment, all but this one row are going smoothly, but then some disruption comes through here, and yeah, it's very close to 5 full belts. I'm going to be happy with that, and head back. So just confirm one more time that the aluminum output is very much good. And in fact, this should probably be backing up soon. Because, yeah, so that has run out of space to put aluminum. And the rest of them will hopefully be running into the same problem shortly. That one has... And there's still no aluminum train incoming. So we might get a full backup. Yep, looks like it. That one backs up. Now we've just got the one, which should back up any second now, assuming it's approximately comparable to the others. Let's go in and see. That would be like this one, right? And yeah, it's also basically... I mean, it's a lot farther behind for no apparent reason, but it is basically getting there. And there still doesn't look like there's a train incoming to use all of this. So, yeah, we officially have all of these backed up all the way back to here. Now, what we could do is we could put boxes in, and we would have to put them in, like, back in this space here. And that would basically ensure that while it matters how fast they're running at max speed. Yeah, let's do that. It'll be easy, and it'll be a nice, solid improvement. So, take that out. We give you industrial storage container. And you go like that. And we do the same thing for each of these. And you get one of those. Like so. So now, they'll be sinking less aluminum, and instead they'll be filling up these boxes, which will keep the output belts running at max speed, even if all the rest of this isn't perfect. And the only way that will stop is if we're physically using more than we're able to produce, in which case obviously these belts would be running 100% of the time, and then they'll slowly drain. But even then, I think it'd probably take a while, right? Alright, so that goes in. That's a bit of a longer thing than normal, but there we go. Just one more to give a box. And your box is going to be in line here. So there we go. And there we go. Alright, so now we're going to be doing even better at making sure that there are no issues. And even if there are issues, it should take absolutely ages for them to materialize now. So that should be our aluminum supply done. And these belts should run at full speed basically permanently now, whenever they need to. And we can then just leave this area and then go back and start looking at the thermal propulsion rockets, which is going to use a whole lot of bauxite, a whole lot of aluminum among some other things. So let's find a spot to build this. Actually, it uses iron, so I want it to be over here on the east, because that lets the iron take the shortcut and not go through the middle. And also the aluminum is here as well. So if we just build this factory like in that stretch there, it should be pretty good. So let's get on over. And let's see, find a spot with plenty of space. How about here? So we can go here and then... Is this even going to be enough space? This factory is going to be massive, right? It should be fine though. It should be fine though. Because we can go up and down a whole bunch of rows if we need to. So this should go in, two-way rail, and connect it up. Then we connect it across, like so. Alright, so you get a block signal. You get a path signal. You get to become a path signal. I guess you over there can become a path signal. It's a bit far for this block. It's going to be weirdly large on that side, but not going to break anything. Alright. So, now it is time to start with all of this. We are above a place with hopefully enough water. We need, what, 3 pipes worth of water, which we should be able to get from just down there-ish. There's also actually... There's actually 2 pure nodes of iron directly below us. So we can just yoink that. I mean, I don't normally grab local supplies, but, like, I might as well, right? I might as well. I'm going to be heading down for the water anyways. And that'll deal with our entire iron demand. And then it's just copper, limestone, crude oil, and then nitrogen, and the aluminum ingots as well. So the aluminum ingots, we're going to be bringing in an absolute massive number of them via train. The rest of them are pretty small, considering we're skipping the iron. Alright. So, let's get these trains set up. There's not, like, a copper node in the area. There is a limestone node. I guess I can... Yeah, I don't normally use local materials, but while we have iron and limestone really quite close, that copper is... Yeah, let's actually just do that. Using local materials will make this a lot more robust, and it'll make the train system a lot less annoying. So we can mark off copper, iron, and limestone from the list of things that we need to input. And then we are going to need trains for nitrogen, aluminum, and crude oil. Is that it? Yes. Nitrogen, aluminum, crude oil trains, modular engine and turbo motor drones, water, copper, iron, and limestone are all going to be grabbed on site. Now, we don't even have a nitrogen train network proper, right? Like, actually, do we? We've got this one thing there, which I don't even know how much nitrogen that is. But let's see, there's definitely none around here where I am, right? No, not even close. Nowhere within 100 miles. Alright, so what is that nitrogen source for, and am I using it for anything? I guess I can grab this nitrogen source and shove it on a train if I need more. So let's set up our train network. Oh, before that, I should have done this already. Grab all that. Clear some of this random junk out of my inventory. So now we're going to have to start setting up a relatively small, for how large the factory is, train input. And yeah, just the ability to not have to worry about trains for a lot of things will dramatically simplify not only this, but also like any future stuff that I do. Alright, so because if we have 1,000 iron going through the train network, that's actually quite a lot, which would potentially cause problems for other future factories. But if that isn't going through the train network, then that solves that problem for all of those future factories. Alright, so then we have this set up, and we have to put our trains in line with this. There. So that should be enough space to at least get this started. And then we go train station. Leave. What did I just do? I hit a weird button. So train station goes there. We leave 2 lines of space. That's enough. And then we get another train station, which goes there, leaving 2 lines of space. And then one more. I forgot how cartoonishly large train stations are, even with only 3. Yeah, if we'd had to do like 3 or 4 more of these, it would have been absolutely unbearable. Alright, but we don't, so that's great. So you go in, give you a bit of extra space, and pop you in there. So now all of these need to connect up. You go to there. It's like weirdly finicky. Alright, then that's too close. That's probably too far. That works though. Alright. So now we have those. Then this is going to be thermal propulsion rocket, aluminum. This is going to be thermal propulsion rocket, nitrogen, And this is going to be thermal propulsion rocket oil. And then we just bring those in and call it good. So we just have to put foundations back here for all of these. It's actually two fluids, which is a bit strange, bit of a coincidence. Alright, so these all go away. Give us plenty of room for our train system. The wire, we're going to need a whole lot of that. So make sure to keep pulling it in our inventory so that the dimensional storage never fills up. Though at this point, I think we would be fine. So we get a freight platform. Actually, if it's two fluids, I want the fluids to be on the outside, so let's swap these. So this can be nitrogen, because sometimes fluids need more space than solids. This can be aluminum, and that's fine. Alright, so fluid freight platform. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1. Okay, I need to finish off that row apparently. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then regular freight platforms. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright. Now we just have to put this row in to feed the things. And you go along this way. And then you just have to keep going for a little bit longer. Alright, then this is the row that it has to go down. So you curve onto here, like that, and then go forwards the rest of the way. So there, and then there. Alright, so now that's all set up. We just have to put the spots where this curves in to the trains. This one is being a bit annoying. Okay. Can you curve that way? Yes. And then it just works easily. I really don't know why trains are like that. Like, sometimes they work going one way but not the other, despite the fact that you should theoretically be snapping into the same point, basically. Alright. Anyways, we got it figured out. So now we just have to get block signals to face the right way. Why are you like this? There we go. Block signal. Block signal. Block signal. Then we go around this side and put these guys block signals in. 1 and 2 and a 3. And then let's put a random block signal in just there so that a train can be waiting in here while this is being filled instead of, you know, in the intersection out there. Alright, so this is all good. Now we have to make the trains themselves and then worry about the settings. Actually, settings are going to be important. So this is the game where all freight cars are the same and they just pick up whatever. So we don't have to worry about using fluid freight cars like we do in Factorio. Alright, so you are TPR nitrogen, and you are going to find that nitrogen situation. We have Dune Desert nitrogen, and I could have sworn I'd seen another train somewhere that was just called like Nitrogen Source or something. Let's just search for nitrogen. So yeah, we have Dune Desert nitrogen and Nitrogen Source. I have no idea what the difference is between the two, but we're close to the Dune Desert. Wait, that might be going to fuel. Yeah, I think that might be headed down to power production, so I'm not going to fuck with that. We're going to go Nitrogen Source instead. And then the other place we wanted to go is, of course, just here. And while you're here, we want you to stay until you are empty. Save, save, off you go. Now, I might be wrong, and this might be the one that's actually providing the power for the fuel. But if that's the case, then I guess we'll just be sad about it. So this is aluminum. Fortunately, there is no confusion there. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you are TPR aluminum. So you are going to go to aluminum ingot output and TPR aluminum. And then while you're here, you're going to stay until you are empty. Save, turn on self-driving car, off you go. Alright, now I need to make sure to set these two unload before the trains return, otherwise we're going to have serious problems. By serious problems, this is going to be mildly annoying, but I want to avoid that. So these all get set to unload. There we go. And now let's get these ones set to unload. There you go. And then we just need to get the oil train in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, so you are TPR oil. And you are going to go to oil distributor and TPR oil. And you're going to stay here until you are fully unloaded. Save, save, turn on self-driving. Alright. So that is that. That should be all of those resources that we need for this. So next up, well, we should confirm that Nitrogen Source is what I think it is, because it could be very, very bad if I'm wrong about that. So Nitrogen Source, if I remember correctly, was down here somewhere in the southwest. Alright, this hypertube cannon doesn't really work anymore, but it's at least something. Okay, southwest, southwest, southwest. I mean, it works fine enough. Alright, so this is the nitrogen source here. Now, is there a train here? No. There's no train here, and it's all filled up. And I think... I mean, this this looks full. Let's drop down and see how much nitrogen this is, and if it's not like significantly more than 600, then we might have an issue. But it looks like, I mean, that looks like significantly more than 600. That looks like 4 pipes worth. So this is making 2100. There's no way that this is probably good. It might not be good, in which case I think this would just be what, maybe turbo motors or something that I'd be messing with here. Wait, did I just hear a train? Yes, there's a train, and that is, oh, this is the train that I just placed. Of course, obviously. Alright, I mean, I don't see another train around to complain, really, about this grabbing a cargo full. So that is now filled, and this is going to refill. And as long as it gets up to 1600 before the other random train shows up, that's just limestone, don't care about that. I called that TRP instead of TPR, which is mildly annoying. But I don't think it's actually an issue, and this is, yeah, I mean, this is filling up fast enough. I don't know where the other train is that would be using this, but it does not seem to be around. And if this totally fills, then we should be fine. So yeah, I think that should be okay. So let's respawn and take our east pointing hypertube. Off we go. And this is going to take us over here, and we'll see if we have the other trains have made it in here yet. Obviously the nitrogen one probably hasn't. Alright, we are back. The other ones might have shorter trips though, so they might have made it already. There's some aluminum. That one's empty. And that one's empty. Okay, more aluminum is showing up already before we've even gotten a single oil delivery. Which is good, because, I mean, we only need 89 crude oil a minute, which is basically 0. We do need a fair amount of aluminum, though, so it's good that those trips are being made fast. Alright, this should be fine. So, the next step is going to be to, let's see, what do we bring in? Nitrogen, aluminum, and crude oil. So we are grabbing that copper as well as that iron and that limestone and the water. Alright, so it looks like actually a lot of the stuff we use water for is going to be done down there, so we might not need to bring in a bunch of pipes upwards. Alright, there is what looks like the oil train. Hopefully delivering a good solid amount of oil, and then, okay, that's just an unrelated fluid train. So we're getting a good solid oil delivery here, and then that'll be that. So let's head down to ground level. So we grab power line. We grab this blueprint, which is incredibly scuffed, but technically functional. It does what I need it to do, which is let me just click all the way down there, very far, without much trouble. And then we go onto this, and we bring this down. Down we go. And then we just put in another set of these blueprints until we reach ground level. And then once we're down there, we're going to actually do a lot of the factory down there and just belt up, like, iron, for example. Because the pure iron recipe will be done, can be done all down there using that iron and the water. So this is actually going to sort of be basically just like two distinct factories, because there's going to be enough of a gap between the stuff happening down at ground level and the stuff happening up there. So we're going to go down here, do as much as we can, and then bring the resulting stuff up. It's probably only going to be like 1 or 2 steps each, of course, because we do ultimately need a lot of complicated stuff in order to get anything else done. But we'll do what we can. Alright, then just hopefully one more batch of blueprints. This is like, you know, all the way down to sea level, which means it's quite far. But I think that last blueprint would go underground, so we should be set. Alright. Yeah, this is close enough. Bring the power line down onto the terrain, and here we are. Alright, so we're going to start with a factory floor here, I guess. Let's just get it on this level. Something like this. And have it be nice and decently sized and spacious. Alright, so that is that. Should be fine. Some weird lighting from the giant Borg cube looking monstrosities above us. But it's nothing to worry about. Alright, so now we just need to clear out all these poison pillars. Don't want to be working around them. And get some speed on that throw. I missed slightly. Get rid of you. Okay, that one is super far away. But you can yeet these things pretty dang far if you try. Alright, that should be pretty clear for the immediate area. So the iron is this way. Where's our power line? Power pole is now underneath that, so we're going to have to get that power line on the foundation. And now we just go over this way, bring power with us, and get rid of another one of you. Alright, so here is the iron. And we can go miner mark 3 right there. I'm going to have to craft up some more power shards at some point. Okay, this doesn't need to be 1200. It'd be real cool if it could be, because that would be all of the iron demand single-handedly, but we don't have the belt for that. So you are 780. and you just go down onto the foundation. And then we have to go up a little bit past this way. And let's see, the iron should be... Okay, it's to the east of me. Is it going to be up on this giant pillar? Or is it going to be... Ah, no, here it is. Alright, so let's go over here. Oh, don't forget to bring power with you, both for powering up the miner and for not falling out of the sky unexpectedly. Alright, so we pop you in. And you can also be 780. Neither of you really need to be 780. We could get by with both of them being 600. And let's actually do that, because that will save us a couple of power shards, which currently are a very minor shortage. We can obviously like craft up a whole bunch more if we want to, but effort is effort. Alright, where do we get you? That's approximately the right direction, over this way. Alright, so now this belt comes along to here, and then there, and then down onto the foundation. And then you can also be set to 600. So now we have 1200 iron here, which we need 1168, so that's plenty. And let's bring this over towards the sort of main platform that I built. So we have that. That is our iron. Next, we have limestone. So limestone is northwest of me, also in this same general direction. So I have a power line there, and we just have to keep going over this way, find some nice flat spots to put them. I'm surprised none of that counts as a nice flat spot to put a power line. They don't need that much flat space. Okay, now we're up here. That is a hard drive that I haven't grabbed yet, apparently. I wonder if that's because it requires something that I don't have access to, or if I just didn't notice it. Let's blow up poison pillars. There's one more, which I will deal with now. Off you go. Alright, that was easy enough. Might as well grab that and dismantle the crash debris. Alright. It's actually not up here, it is further south. Alright, further south we go. Yeah, there it is, down at the bottom of this pill. Yes, you can dismantle them as of the 1.1 update, which is still relatively recent. So it's one of those things where people are like, you can dismantle those, and it's like, well, yes, you can, but it's not like you're dumb for not knowing. There was a long time when you couldn't dismantle those, but now you can. Alright, so that is power to the limestone. Yep, it's new. So if you aren't carefully tracking the patch notes, it's not surprising that you wouldn't know about it. So then we just have to bring this around. Oh, I have to actually make sure it's... Oh, it's 480 by default, and I need 410. So that is plenty. So let's bring that back. Make sure to bring power with us so that I don't fall out of the sky. That's always important to do. There we go. And we just keep on going. Almost there. Alright, not much of a factory, but we are almost back at it, and it's starting to get a bit more impressive now that we have multiple different types of materials here. Alright, limestone, check. And then this can just go... It can just go along the line like that. And please, just go a little bit forward so that this doesn't look quite so weird. Alright, now finally there's copper, which is by far the most out of the way. Ooh, also there's a poison pillar down there, which I somehow didn't notice. Should get rid of that before I randomly die. There we go. So that is far to the northeast. I thought I had power around here. There, I do. I was just barely outside of it. Alright, so now we grab this, and we keep on going. Pretty much due east from here. So let's go over this way, and grab some relatively local copper. That, okay, that's just some free power, which I guess I will grab. Free power never hurt anyone. Although, with the amount of power that I have producing, this is kind of a rounding error, but it takes 5 seconds, so whatever. There's also that one down there. So let's get you... Okay, no, there's also a guy on that. I don't really want to mess with that too much. So we need to head a bit further north. And a bit further north. Gotta be around there, right? Yeah, it's... should be right here. Yeah, there it is. Alright, power line. Get over here. And production. Miner Mark III. I only need 112 copper. So that 240 is more than enough. Alright, we're still going to use Mark V belts to transport this because I have them. And it makes it go faster. So then this just has to go back, I guess it's just southwest in general. So let's go this way, retrace our steps, get up this cliff, around the generators, and need to get further west as well. It's not exactly the neatest belt line that I've ever done. And okay, now we're out of power range. Where is our power poles? We're not quite retracing our steps as well as I normally do when I do this, so we need to bring some power along with us. Alright, a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Keep on bringing these along. Okay, almost fell out of the sky there. placed it at just the right moment to catch myself. Now we are basically home free. Just have to get over here and up onto this giant square that I've got. Alright, so that is limestone, iron, and copper. Now we just need water, and I need to get power coverage over more of this square. I'm constantly falling out of the sky, and it sucks. What is that? Is that more iron right there? It is. Neat. Didn't know that was there. Alright, anyways. Can we... Are we high enough up to be able to fit water extractors under us? Not quite. That's annoying, because that's kind of like the best spot on the river. I think that might be worth just moving this whole thing up a couple blocks. Although we might be able to fit... Because we need 3 pipes, which is a fair amount of water. And a lot of this is giving the whole not deep enough problem. Now, how many power shards do I have left? 13. And no slugs. And none in there. So I have 13, and I can grab another 20 from there. So I can do a decent chunk of overclocking here to get these going faster. So then they would be 300 each. And then I would need... I think 6 of them. Alright. Let's just fit these in underneath this and be fine with that. And let's just get as many as we can. And then figure out if we need to do overclocking based on the results of that. Okay, I think we're going to be fine. We've got plenty of room, especially on that side of the foundation. Alright, you need to get upgraded and bring power over this way. And then we can just continue to pop water extractors sort of at random on this. Okay, is that one that I've already done? That might be one of the ones which isn't possible at the moment. Let's get a power line close by, and then I could drop in and check real quick. No, I did already grab that one. I normally mean to dismantle those when I grab them so that that exact situation doesn't happen. Alright, how many of these did I end up placing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, that's a pretty good number. If I can get 120 times 11 is 1,320, so I need 2 more. Surely I can find some spot, like over here or something. There's one can go there, and then there's gotta be a way. I can't imagine that this entire area out here is too deep. Okay, yeah, then there's one there. This ended up going a bit further afield than I would have liked, but it's fine. So now we can just merge these up into a couple batches of 5. They're going to be very, very spread out batches of 5. So that goes there. That goes there. Now, let's see. Am I counting this right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a batch of 5. And then we just need to get them turned on and not just place random extra power poles in various locations. I guess we're going to use you to hook something up. Alright, so then those all get powered. Alright, so that is one pipe down. And then we just keep going. Oh, I already have a power pole there. So that gets connected up. Then we connect that one in. And that one goes in. And that one goes in. That's another batch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping track of all of these is going to be a bit annoying. Where's my power pole? There's one over there. Okay, there's a small one there, but I'm just going to have this big one here so that I can connect stuff up to. 3 and a 4 and a 5. And then we bring... No, I already have power lines all over the place back here. Then I just connect these 3 up, and they should be enough. So we have 600, then we have 1200, then we have another 360, which is 1560. Do I have to overclock one of these by 0.69? Hang on. Times. Yes, I do in fact need to either place another one or overclock one of these. That's incredible, because apparently my blueprint says I need 1560.69 water. And this is 1560. Incredible things. Alright, you can just go in there, I guess. Much easier and less wasteful than using a power shard for that. Alright, and this connects around here, goes into that one. You get powered on and go forwards. And connect it in. Alright, so that should be more water than we need, which is always a good place to be. And then we're going to need to just have our foundation go up here instead, so that we don't have all the water extractors clipping through the floor. Alright, there we go. Then this expands out here, and we can start doing factory stuff here. So the only resources we haven't collected for our thermal propulsion rocket factory are the ones which we're going to be bringing in via drone, and that's like the turbo motors and the couple modular engines that we're bringing in via drone instead of crafting here. Okay. So let's just grab a pipe from each of these and bring it up onto the factory. So you get one, and you get one there, and then one more from this one, which can go up this way. Alright, so that's that. Hopefully I don't need to put pumps on these since it's not that high up. It might be just barely high up enough that I need to, which would stink. Alright. So, first off, let's just deal with the limestone first, I guess. So that is going to be 4 refineries worth of limestone. So let's go with 1, 2, not... Okay, no, that did end up getting placed correctly. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this needs to be 410 limestone input. Don't know how that calculates to concrete output. It's 6 to 4. Let's just go 410 divided by 4 times 120 times 100. Is that right? No, that's wrong. Let's see here. 410 divided by 4 is 102.5. So it's 102.5 divided by 120 times 100, I think. Yes, there we go. Second try. So now those all get pasted in. And now we can just split the limestone in a good old simple 1 to 4. And boy, these machines sure do use a lot of limestone very quickly. So then those have to be Mark II belts. These have got to be Mark III belts. And then we have to have at least a Mark IV belt going into that. And we also have to get the limestone from over here onto that, which is not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but we just have to go up. And let's make sure this works properly as like a little mini logistics floor. And we can just put in a lift there. No, my mouse slipped a little bit. So that goes there, then this comes back down and into there. Alright, so that is limestone sorted. I probably shouldn't have started this so close to like basically where the back of the factory is. And I also really need to just like make blueprints for refineries, because I'm going to be doing basically the same process for copper and iron. Although iron is going to be a much bigger process because we're doing a lot more of it. I'm going to save that for last. So those go in. That goes in there. That goes in there. Then all these pipes go down. And this is 341 water. So we can connect it up to just any of these. Let's pick that one because it has the least water available. So now the pipes should fill a little bit. And we just have to power these machines on. That's that. Power them on, and it starts up. So that's concrete. And alright. Apparently we're using a lot of our aluminum on aluminum beams, which doesn't seem wise, but I guess the planner knows what it's doing, probably. Alright, so let's, for now, just sink the concrete so that it can run without... It can run and we can know that it's working without actually having to put the outputs into anything. it's going to have to be split up a fair amount in order to work, in order to be used. So we're going to have some space for that. And there we go. Connect it into that, I guess. And then this runs down the line there. And these get their Mark II belts, connecting them up to that. Alright, off we go. It looks like we're not getting enough water. Why are we not getting enough water? I imagine we just need a pump, probably. I thought we might. So let's just... It's tiny, so we should only need a Mark I pump. That should be enough. Connect that up. Now... that should... Assuming the pump is low enough for it to work, which it looks like it is. Yeah, flow rate through the pump of 600. Now this is getting its water. And we're all functional. Alright, so that's limestone done. Next up, we have copper, which apparently we need almost 8 refineries for, despite the fact that it's only 112 ore. That's kind of crazy. Alright, so let's go over here. This is where the copper is anyways. And get some space for that. 8 refineries is a lot, so we're going to need a good solid area for them. And refineries. Here we go. We get... Let's see, is this going to cause problems to have it there? No, that should be fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just barely enough space. Alright, then this is 112 copper ore, and it's also getting split into a couple of things. So we go pure copper, and 112 divided by 8 is 14. So this is 14 over 15 times 100%, which is 35 each. So then we paste the settings. And that is that. Now we need our splitters, which is just going to be a row of 1 to 2s. So there, and there, and there. And then there's hardly any copper going into each of them. So this is going to be Mark I belts, except for the last step, which will be Mark II belts. So that goes in. Then we have this, and they go across. Then we have one more, which goes like that. And then we have our copper belt, which is apparently over here, which we can drag up as a Mark II belt onto this. Actually, let's drag it onto this and then have it floor hole up onto the floor proper. There we go. Then it can go through a floor hole like there. Gosh, it's so dark. Why is it so dark? The swamp at night. And my flashlight wasn't on. I normally have the flashlight on just by default, but sometimes it gets turned off for whatever reason. Alright, so there goes the copper ore. Now we just need the water pipes to go along with it. So those are going to go across here and stop to reset, and then go the rest of the way. So then these pipes all just go in like this. And a couple more. There we go. And into the machines. There we go. Alright. Machines hooked up. Now how much water is that? Hardly any. Okay. So in that case, I mean, I guess it doesn't really make much of a difference. We are just going to take that. I do want things to go onto this floor only via floor holes, and that includes fluids. So you could go up through there instead, and then pop into that line. And do we have enough head lift to get all the way up there? In case we don't, the power draw of a Mark 1 pipe is basically trivial at this point, so might as well throw one in to make sure. Alright, it does look like the pipes, at least, are all getting filled across. That's the power of 600 water a minute. And now we just have to get a power pole in. Theoretically, one power pole should be able to handle all of these, because there's 8 of them, plus a connection to something else is 9, and this has 10. I normally don't like maximally using power lines, but I also have like a million power lines around here anyways, so it's probably fine. Alright, so that is copper production. And let's blow up this tree, because it's going to be in the way a little bit. Alright, so copper production. We can then go ahead and make steamed copper sheets with another 8 refineries out of some of that. So, let's see, we're going to need to grab 180 of the copper. Does this divide evenly? 35. 180 divided by 35 is 5 point... a number that's weirdly close to the decimals in pi. But it doesn't, so we're going to have to merge them up and do it manually. There's just a ladder going up to the sky here. I must have gotten stranded down here at some point. I don't need that anymore, though. Alright, so let's grab all of this copper up and split it. 180 is an easy number to make. It's just 120 plus 60. So we put all the mergers in. Once again, I should really have some sort of a blueprint for this. But I don't. At least not one that I've used in ages that I can remember. I probably have something like this from back at the very beginning. Alright, then this annoyingly should be Mark 5s. It is 280 copper total, which is 10 more than can fit on a Mark 3 belt, and I don't like using Mark 4 belts because I have a personal grudge against them. Alright, so then we have this. We have a... Yeah, let's have a sink in here. Just so that we have one. Alright, so then this goes directly into that. And we can use our last connection on this line to get another power line up here, which can get that sink going. Then this is center overflow right any. And then this is... Okay, we're going to have to go a little bit forwards because of that power line there. 2 smart splitters, which are also actually center overflow right any. And they are going to merge up a Mark II and a Mark I to get our 180. And then we're just going to have another row of this same thing, basically. So let's get this foundation going across. We're going to have another row of 8 refineries, but this time we're making steamed copper sheets instead of copper ingots. Alright, a little bit more. Just get that all the way out there. And then let's blow up some of these trees. Just the ones that are going to be in the way. Alright, that should be good enough. So this is going to be the other 100, which can just go over that way. And then this can go over this way and into our new row of refiners. So let's grab you, bring you forwards a bit, and make sure you've got enough space. Because there is... That should be fine. It should be fine, but I'm going to give it another foundation just to be sure. There's plenty of space in the world, so you might as well use it. Alright, so the steamed copper sheets is actually just 100. They're actually just running at 100%. So that works out nicely. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, there's a random leaf there. Can I blow that up from here? Yes. Success. Alright, now we put in the splitters for this, which are just every other, because this is 8. Now splitting on powers of 2 is just so convenient. It's so easy. I want these to be straight belts. These are 22. So these can be Mark 1s, as can the next row, and then past that we'll have to be using faster belts. Alright, so we have those. Then let's have these split towards the center. Like so. And like so. So those belts are carrying 50 each. Or no, 45. Then these belts are doing 90 each, so Mark II belts. And then this one is a Mark III. And now we just connect that up to there, and that should give us the correct ratio, unless I forgot to connect these across, which I absolutely did. There we go. Now that's 180 here. And we can get our pipe on for water. There we go. And then it comes all the way across to here. What type of node are we covering up? Just a normal node. That's no big deal. Alright, so now we put these junctions in. How much water is this? It's hard to tell just glancing at the notes, because the way it works is the lines all sort of cross over each other in a horrible mess. So you have to drag things around to see properly. I don't think this is going to be a huge amount of water, though. I think most of the water goes to the iron ingot refining. What did I say? Refining. Alright, so let's just grab this, bring it over here, and pop it in. Now, how much water is that? Oh, only 180. Yeah, we're fine. So that is going. Just going to give the water a chance to fill up all the pipes, because that does help quite a lot in getting this done sooner. So over here, the flow rate is rising as all the pipes before it are filled. And there we go. Now we are absolutely cooking. Alright, so we get another power pole here. And again, I'm going to do all of this off of one power line, which is, again, I like to have spare space on my power lines, but this will have technically one spare spot. And there's also this one right back here, which has plenty. So now this is all powered up, it's getting its water, and we are going. Now all the way over here, we're still at 40-some water each, so this should be more or less entirely buffered properly. And if not, I think there's still just way more water in the pipes than we need still at the moment. So that's the steamed copper sheets. And let's see here. The iron and water go together to make pure iron ingots, but that's 34 refineries at minimum. And then most of that goes to making iron pipes. This thing loves its iron pipes recipe. Just use coal, make them normally. But whatever. So it loves its iron pipes recipe. And then we're going to be doing some coated iron plates. So it looks like what we're going to be doing down here is going to be mostly just iron. So yeah, I think we're going to call it a day here. We have a whole lot of iron to make. We've got iron pipes and iron wire and then coated iron plates, but that requires plastic, which will be up there where the oil is. I suppose we could actually just drag a pipe with the oil down here, and that would be pretty easy. But we'll figure that out next time. For now, our next main step is going to be the pure iron ingots, which is 33.385 refineries. We're probably just going to do, what, 36? Because that's just a row of 3 and then a couple rows, two 3s and 2 2s, I think. Yeah. Good old prime factorizations. Anyways, 36 is pretty easy to split. 33.385 is not. So we're going to be doing that. But I think that's going to be a job for next stream. So this stream, we've gotten our aluminum ingot factory working. That took a fair bit of effort between last stream and this one, but it should be functional now. And then we have most of the raw resources refining here for the thermal propulsion rocket factory, and we have all of the ingredients assembled. So we are making progress. There's a lot of steps left to go on this factory. It is insanely complicated, as both late game factories and factories using automatic calculator designs as opposed to manually figuring out simpler ways tend to be. But we are making progress, and there's only so much that needs to be done. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I had a lot of fun. I will be back playing Satisfactory on Monday, so make sure to stop by then if you're interested in. I don't know when exactly my Christmas break is going to last. I'm definitely not going to be streaming on Christmas Day, and probably not on Christmas Eve. And then I don't know when I'll be back starting streaming again. It's hard to say, but we'll figure it out. So, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.